We are going live onto YouTube now. So we are live now. So I guess Mike can start anytime.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and we hope you're enjoying your time today at the Connected Careers Job Fair. I want to welcome everyone viewing on YouTube and viewing live using the Connected Careers app today, or the program. So welcome. My name is Michael Marini. I am the Coordinator of Marketing with the Economic Development Division with the City of Hamilton, and I'll be your moderator for today. And as our meeting virtually today, unfortunately, hopefully next year we'll all be in person. But what COVID has taught us, that if we are to succeed and emerge from a pandemic such as this, it will be a total team effort. And today our panel will hopefully walk you through the ways that the community of Hamilton is here to work together to help you find meaningful employment and help employers find the best workforce possible that we know we have in the city of Hamilton. So with that, I would like to welcome our panelists today. They will be doing their own brief introductions, but just to give you an overview today, we have Jennifer Patterson, who is the Manager of Business Investment and Sector Development with the Economic Development Office in the city of Hamilton. Judy Lamb, who is the Manager of Commercial Districts and Small Business with the Economic Development Office in the city of Hamilton. Kristen Hugenboss, who's the Coordinator of the Hamilton Business Center with the city of Hamilton. Many of you may know it formerly as the Hamilton Small Business Enterprise Center. And Uzma Qureshi, Director of Employer Services for the Immigrants Working Center. And so I want to welcome our panelists today. I will ask that they turn their cameras on now and welcome everyone here. And we'll start with the brief introductions. We'll go from Jennifer, then we'll go to Judy, then Kristen, then Uzma, and Jennifer will come back to you for the first question. So Jennifer, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Michael, and welcome everyone. And yes, my name is Jennifer Patterson. I am the manager for the Business Investment and Sector Development team, a section of, or part of the Economic Development Division within the city of Hamilton. And just to give you a little bit of a brief overview of what my team does and how we support industry in the community. So basically, the Business Investment and Sector Development team acts as a primary point of contact and outreach for all business investment and activity within the city. Our services are geared to support and attract new startups, foreign direct investment, corporate relocations, and most important, the expansion and retention of our existing businesses. Our business development team work and focus hard on key industry sectors of Hamilton's economy, which includes advanced manufacturing, life sciences, agri-food and food and beverage processing, goods movement, information communications, and digital and technology, which includes digital media. Again, supporting the growth of our existing industry in these key sectors and ensuring that's our number one priority. We are connectors within the community. So our team works hard outreaching to our companies and connecting them with resources to help them grow and expand successfully. Examples of that are connecting to different levels of government, export and trade support, incentives, development support, not to mention labor force, which is always a big area of support that we offer. We celebrate Hamilton's location as one of our greatest value propositions. Our location and connectivity within the greater Toronto area and Toronto itself, as well as the US border make our city a viable option for new investors. And why so many of companies that exist in our community are already located here because of these reasons. The city is close to major business hubs, ports of entry, and has Canada's busiest international airport. With ready available options for both travel and shipping, transportation of goods and people is made easy, especially now that we offer all-day go service. Again, I would highlight Hamilton's location advantages and access to a population and workforce of over 2 million people within an hour drive or a train ride. Hamilton has a workforce of over 400,000 highly skilled and diverse people, with over 45,000 students at McMaster University, Mohawk College, and Redeemer. The labor force pool is regularly infused with skilled workers ready to contribute to the Hamilton's creative, technical, and healthcare related industries and more. The proximity to Ontario's largest population means businesses operating in Hamilton can easily hire from a wide variety of applicable sectors. Hamilton is the most diversified economy in Canada and is quickly growing. The city's annual economic growth has regularly outpaced national averages, and more than 18% of its population identifies as visible minorities. Among immigrants arriving within the past 5 years, 35% hold a university certificate, diploma, or degree at a bachelor's level or above. And this is based on the 2016 census. Access to talent with a vast array of skills and backgrounds can boost your company's capacity for innovation. A diverse team can also open doors to important international connections, helping you establish your company in the global marketplace faster. Our global Hamilton team works hard to support foreign direct investment, offers soft landing services for international companies looking to land or satellite offices locating in our community, and build relationships with global markets. Not to mention the work we do to support and attraction and to support the attraction and retention of international students, which is also a great resource for those for companies like yourselves to consider. The Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council operates within the Hamilton Economic Development, or my division within economic development. HIPSE, as we refer to, is a community table that seeks to create seamless settlement experience for immigrants in Hamilton, with partners from various sectors, including settlement, education, business, health, social services, municipal affairs, and persons with lived immigration experience. HIPSE works to create a welcoming community with relevant and accessible services. And I know you'll hear more about that from Uzma later. But as such, Hamilton Economic Development offers paths to supporting both international investors and, of course, the international immigration and immigrants who are now calling Hamilton their home. So again, another great resource that we can make those connections to. So I encourage you to reach out to us if you haven't already, and let us to connect you with resources, some of the ones I've just talked a little bit about, and so we can help assist your company. So thank you, Michael.
Thanks for that overview, Jen, of your section. We'll come back to you for a couple of questions, but I wanted to throw it over to Judy, actually, just to give an overview of the incentives that might appeal to employers and information on the MAC apprenticeship program.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. And thanks, Jen, for that great overview of the city. Just to explain, so we're sort of the counterpart that goes along with Jen's team. We work closely together. We look at investment in any sector in geographical areas. And so we cover the 13 business improvement areas. A lot of our clients are commercial retail, which we will help citywide. We have downtowns, the main downtown, but also 5 other downtowns, such as Waterdown, Stony Creek. We look at the Mount Hope Gateway, Ancaster, Waterdown example. And so we have a lot of commercial corridors where our businesses are located. So a lot of our businesses are small business, and it's been a tough 2 years with the pandemic. We've offered programs to try to assist with some adjusting to those challenges that you've experienced over the last 2 years. That includes creation of the outdoor dining districts. We revised our community improvement plan, which helps offer incentives. And so those just went live in October, so that we offer incentives in many, many areas in the city. If you hope to expand, if you're looking at improving your property, attracting office clients to our areas. And so that's just a sampling. We also focus on the FIRE sector, which is finance, insurance, and real estate. A lot of what you've seen downtown, the true investment, people are moving into Hamilton, which speaks well to increasing our labor force in the city, is that the examples is we have office tenancy loan programs. We work with our office providers. We work with developers who's building all these condos and apartments and improving the housing in the city, which I think will go a long ways to continue to attract the talent that we need to service our employers. And so that's just a sampling of what we do. I know later on we can talk a little bit more. We work with our post-secondary institutions to make sure that we have the labor force that you need. And, you know, on an annual basis, we've been sending out, as an example, our employer survey so that we can hear from you directly about your challenges and your needs and your labor force needs, your talent needs, which is what we can get into that later. One example that Michael had mentioned was working with McMaster University on the Humanities Apprenticeship Program, where we were able to work with McMaster and have job postings offered to students, and the salary is subsidized to, you know, we provided a grant of $16,000 per job that was created. That's just a high level in terms of an example of a program that we undertook with the post-secondary.
Thanks so much, Judy. Uzma, you're not from the city. You're only a panelist that's not from the city, so you have a different perspective. And as the Director of Employment Service or Employer Services for the Immigrants Working Center, I'm hoping you can just give the audience a brief overview of the Immigrants Working Center, and as well any initiatives that that you want to talk about today that that you've been working towards to this point.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Michael, and welcome to all of our participants today. You know, I'm not from the city of Hamilton, but I am in the city of Hamilton. So I kind of am from the city of Hamilton, if you look at it that way. Again, my name is Uzma Qureshi. I'm the Director of Employment Services here at IWC Hamilton. I'm also the co-chair of HIPC's Economic Stability Committee. At IWC, what we look to do is work with newcomers to Canada, and we recognize them as essential partners in the growth and prosperity of Hamilton and the country. We've been doing this for more than 30 years. Our team has worked closely with newcomers, with employers to really engage and support the full social and civic and economic participation here in the city. And what we do is we look at labor market gaps and the gaps that employers are telling us about to deliver innovative models of integrated employment focused settlement and language programming. And that really supports immigrants' success, but it also supports the local labor market needs in Hamilton as well. So you will see that although our base is employment and training programs, there's wraparound supports that are available as well to help newcomers with the settlement aspect of their journey, or with some of the language terminology, or you know that aspect of their learning that they're going to need. How to get more connected to Hamilton as in a social aspect as well. So that whole 360 of what a newcomer's journey is like, we're there to support. I do want to talk a little bit about HIPC as well. Many employers may not know that HIPC was established in 2009. It was one of Canada's first local immigration partnerships. And now that network has spread across the country, and it has more than 75 similar local initiatives. And us being housed within the City of Hamilton's Economic Development Division really speaks to the importance that is placed on economic development and inclusion for newcomers and immigrants to the city. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you, Uzma. And last but certainly not least, with the introductions, Kristen Hugenboss, who her team certainly has been working overtime trying to help Hamilton small businesses navigate this pandemic. So I'll let Kristen talk about a high-level overview of some of the small business supports and services that can certainly help our job seekers today looking to move into entrepreneurship, or even employers from a small business perspective. Kristen?
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. And good afternoon, everybody. It's certainly been an interesting 2 years, and really thankful to be here and share some of the services and resources here in Hamilton to support the cultivation and activation of entrepreneurship as a viable career option. The Hamilton Business Center, for those of you who may not be familiar, is part of the 57 office network across the province of Ontario, working with the Ministry of Economic Development The Ministry of Economic Development, Career and Job Creation has been vital in the past 2 years in providing some pivotal programming to support entrepreneurship, to support our business owners, and to support communities as we've navigated the pandemic. This network of offices and our integration within the City of Hamilton Economic Development Department has been key. Here in Hamilton, the Small Business Enterprise Center has been aligned with the network now for almost 22 years. We were one of the first 5 founding partners with the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Network, and very thankful that we have that support through the province and through the city to deliver a number of key services to employers, to small business owners, and to those contemplating entrepreneurship as a viable career option. As we know, there are many reasons that entrepreneurs and businesses are starting, and we're seeing some very positive trends that there are some growth and there is some expanded entrepreneurship and small business. Our small business portfolio goes right across Hamilton and the outlying areas, and we provide a number of key resources to support entrepreneurs in contemplating those first steps or navigating the steps of growth or challenges that they may have experienced in the past 2 years. How the team actually goes about doing that, and we do have a team of 14 right now that are mobilized in terms of virtual services. They will be hopefully connecting individually with business in the very near future. But right now they're connecting one-to-one with business owners through consultations. There's a free opportunity where you can reach out and connect with a team anytime, talk about your business challenges, opportunities, growth, hiring plans, many ways that we can engage with existing employers and new businesses to Hamilton. Beyond that, there are a number of incentive programs as well, and I will talk later as we get through the panel about some of the programs that we offer to incentivize entrepreneurship and growth and startup and expansion here in Hamilton. And that has been pivotal in terms of navigating the steps in growing Hamilton's small business community and the revitalization that's going to happen in the years ahead. Thanks, Michael.
Great. Thank you so much, Kristen. So Jen, I want to throw off the first question to you. You gave a pretty good overview of the services of the division overall, but what are employers looking for in terms of help, in terms of assistance from economic development? And some of the programs and initiatives that they should keep in mind when they contact economic development for assistance? Can you walk us through some of those key programs?
Sure. So in terms of, again, I outlined this a little bit earlier. So our business development consultants, their priority is business retention and expansion. So they do a lot of outreach to industry, and whether or not, depending on the key sector of the economy that they kind of specialize in, as I mentioned earlier. So their job is to uncover what industry needs and what supports there are. So similar to this, and again, obviously today we're focused on labor force and hiring, recruitment. There are many times that we're working with industry and partners in the community to support the companies that are looking for this. So there's times we've set up meetings with companies and brought all of our key partners. Again, we work very closely with our post-secondary education institutions, other labor force related support services. HIPSI is another key component to that because they can fulfill a gap that sometimes employers don't even recognize or are aware that they may be available in the community. So a lot of times what we'll do is when we recognize there's an issue, and if there's a large hiring in place or even companies looking for some support from a labor force perspective, we will bring our community partners around the table and make those connections for the company to understand. And so they're clear on what McMaster may offer, whether it's co-op, whether it's students who've graduated from university, and depending on the programs and skill sets they're looking for, they can kind of connect with them, as well as, of course, Mohawk and Redeemer. So they all offer a great resource to our companies in the community. And again, HIPSI giving another flair in terms of new immigrants coming in, and the table of partners that sit around that HIPSI partnership is really key. And I think a lot of companies are not aware that the resources that may be available to them in the community. So that's just one aspect of what we can do. We do many more. There's other programs that we're a referral partner to the global skills strategy and so forth, and our different levels of government. Bringing those resources around the table also can be effective and supportive to those companies when they're looking for future labor. But there's many things we can do. And again, if I'm looking at just from a labor force perspective today, and again, that's where we're here with this career fair. And again, even today with companies who are participating in the career fair, we've encouraged them to participate in activities like these. And again, this is another opportunity to provide insight and services to companies that they may not be aware of when they're looking to attract labor. So hopefully that covers a lot of that.
Thanks, Jen. In the city of Hamilton and the Economic Development Office in particular, we put a lot of emphasis on business retention and expansion, because they say 80% of the wealth generated in your municipality is done by those already investing. So for those employers listening in today, Jen, can you just give them a very brief walkthrough of the Hamilton Calling program and how they could be involved in that?
Sure. So again, our business development consultants, they're first and foremost, their priority is business retention and expansion. So their outreach, and again, when they focus on key sectors of the economy, whether it's life sciences or advanced manufacturing, we have business development specialists who will reach out to companies. And so companies can also come to us too for that support. And so their job is to go out and really learn more about the company. Like basically, what is it they need support with? Sometimes companies may not need a lot of support, or maybe they need support again with hiring or other connecting with different levels of government, whether it's on trade and export and trade, if they're looking to tap into global markets. I mean, our job is making those connections with the companies. And so each of the BDCs that work with on my team also look to this. They visit over 100 companies a year. This may result in one meeting with the company, or it may result in several meetings. And getting back to the point I made earlier, we could set up a meeting with our key partners around the community. Or if it's export and trade, or maybe they're not aware of the services that the Port of Hamilton may offer, the HOPA, the Hamilton Oshawa Port Authority may offer and being a resource to a company in the community, or potentially the John C. Munro International Airport. If they're cargo, which is a massive cargo, as I explained earlier, location or opportunity there for companies to consider utilizing. Those are the kind of things. Again, our job is we're connectors, and we're helping companies learn about the resource in the community and helping them grow and expand successfully. We also look at another big piece too. If companies are looking to grow, again, big part of business retention and expansion is to help companies grow successfully, but also retain them in the community. So we want to keep Hamilton companies here. We want to help them grow successfully within the community. So bringing these resources to help them do that. And sometimes it may be they're looking to expand. Maybe they can't expand at their current footprint. And so maybe we need to help them identify potentially in other locations. We work very closely with the real estate and development industry as well, and helping them make connections there. Because again, it's retaining those companies in the community. So there's many things we do. We can shepherd companies through the development process as well, through the city, should they be expanding and they're putting on an addition to their existing facility. So there's work that we do there to help support however we can. So it just gives you a little bit of overview.
Thanks, Jen. And Judy, when a lot of investors or a lot of employers come to the Economic Development Office and talk to the team here, there's two items in particular that they want a lot of information on. One is incentives. How can the city help them out financially to make an investment happen? And the second one is how do they find the right talent for the investment that is happening in Hamilton? So can you just walk us through from your section's perspective, what are some of the incentives, the municipal incentives that the employers listening in today should be aware of? And how are you working with employers to fill talent needs?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. The incentives are quite varied. So, for example, there could be new companies, new developers building these mixed-use development projects that you see all over downtown. We provide grants and loans. So grants could include tax grants, which means we are rebating back a portion of the increase in municipal taxes as a result of their development, so that they have a chance to recover some of those increases and get a chance to phase in before they pay full municipal taxes. Then we have existing people who are looking for a new property to develop, or they're existing and they want to make their property more attractive or expand. We have facade grant programs. We've actually really added a lot of environmental sustainability to those. For example, if you have room to do a permanent patio, if you're a restaurant, we allow those as eligible expenses. You know, if you want to put solar on, EV charging stations, green walls, that sort of thing, we allow that as well. And, you know, new signage, if you're taking on a new site and you've located to that location. If you're a restaurant and you need to put in some of the expensive exhaust systems, we have some grants for that. Heritage buildings, there's special programs for that. If you're taking on a new site and you need to do studies for environmental, such as phase 2 ESA, we have grants for that. And the loan programs is to develop residential in the city. And so part of that is we offer interest-free construction loans for developing multi-res housing. And then finally, for the office, we have people who are looking to, whether you're in the city already and you need more space and you're expanding by 1,000 square feet, then we can help with that. Or you're new to the city, we also have interest-free loans to help with that. And a new tweak this year is if you are a startup company that is presently housed in like an incubator or a regional innovation center, then we can forgive part of that loan. And you can take only 500 square feet if that's what you need. The other new program that we had to help our businesses is the commercial vacancy program, which is a 2-year temporary program to help with the pandemic, is that we will allow expenditures within the property inside if it's a permanent improvement, and it is a grant, a matching grant. And so it encourages things like you want to try a business pop up. We only require a 3-month lease as a minimum. Depending on the amount of the lease is how big your grant can get. So it's quite a variety of incentives that we can offer to businesses. Was there a second part to your question?
Yeah, so there's a lot of financial assistance available for companies out there, and then once you have those investments happening, you generally will attract talent. So aside from the financial incentives, the money part of it, how are we helping companies attract talent?
You know, I think part of it is, as I said earlier, we work closely with the post-secondary. An example is, you know, the students that we have attending our post-secondary, we're so fortunate in Hamilton to have top quality institutions, you know, McMaster, Mohawk, Redeemer, an example. And what we want is to make sure that those students stay in the city and not leave. Part of that is if there's a job for them. And I think that's the key, is there are jobs because Hamilton's growing and companies are entering the city, that their first preference, I think, is to stay if there was an opportunity for them. And so we work closely with our post-secondary. I mentioned earlier the example with McMaster University is, and whether the employers have hired students that were graduating from McMaster University in the humanities program. What we heard, because the first year was last year, and then we're entering year 2 now, and the grants were doubled this year. And what we heard from the first year employers was that the quality of the students graduating from Mac was amazing. They were so excited, and they want to hire even more students and have offered them all permanent jobs after that year 1 grant. So that's an example. You know, McMaster, Mohawk, they have an amazing amount of foreign students that wish to stay in Canada. And so we work with MAC as well on one program where we give them a little bit of that Canadian work experience, and then they get a real sense of how employment works in Canada, and they have great training. So those are examples of where we try to make sure that that talent pipeline is in Hamilton. And I think part of just in more general quality of life in Hamilton is making that marketing message go beyond, you know, Hamilton in the GTA, in foreign countries, and to make sure that people are aware how great the city of Hamilton is and what we have to offer. And, whether that's housing, our lifestyle changes, our waterfront that's being developed. There's so many quality of life options for the students and for people who are moving into our area. We've heard that the Stats Canada just released their latest statistics, and it was one of the biggest influx of new residents into Hamilton.
Great. Thanks, Judy. And certainly we are a nation of immigrants and a nation of newcomers, and Hamilton is always a prime destination. And so, Usman, I was hoping you could talk about the work that HIPSI is doing. How does it work with immigrants? How can employers get involved? And I believe you have an announcement about a new website that people can get more information from.
Absolutely, we do. I'm going to start off with what HIPSI actually is, though. HIPSI stands for, because I know employers and job seekers that are listening today, they're going to hear the term HIPSI a lot, or the Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council, but they're both in the same. We call it short HIPSI for short, but what it stands for is Hamilton Immigration Partnership Council. And I do want to go back and talk about how, knowing that the city of Hamilton houses HIPSI under Hamilton Economic Development really does speak to the importance of immigration to our culture, to our population growth, and to our local economy as well. So make no mistake of that. To all those employers that are listening, immigration is the solution to this challenge that you have around recruitment. But HIPSI itself is a community table that brings together partners from various parts of the city, from various sectors, that all have a role to play in helping newcomers find their way here in Hamilton. Some of the members on our HIPSI team are service providers who assist newcomers in finding employment. And where IWC is an example of that. We have employers that are involved as well. We also have very active participation from workforce planning and the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce as well. Is it okay if I just keep going, Michael? Is that all right? Okay, perfect.
Sure, absolutely.
And everyone knows this, immigrants come to Hamilton with all different kinds of skills, qualifications, work experience. We have internationally trained engineers, tradespeople, architects, healthcare professionals, just to name a few. But despite their vast range of experience and many times multiple qualifications, one thing that many have in common, and for various reasons, is that they are often underemployed when they come here to Canada and Hamilton. We know that on the other side of this, that there are many local employers looking for a variety of talent these days. And one phrase that we hear from employers often, and Judy can attest to this, is, we're looking for this new talent. We're looking for fresh individuals. We're looking for out of the box thinking. As service providers that work with newcomers and immigrants each day, when we hear employers ask for this, we know that newcomer talent it has a direct correlation between what employers' needs are and what immigrants possess. So HIPSI has this brand new project, and of course, Michael, as you alluded to, it's launching today to help Hamilton employers connect with newcomer talent. And it's a website that is wehireimmigrants.ca. It's an employer-facing website. It contains video testimonials from local employers, and it helps you to understand the various services and supports that local organizations, very much like mine, can offer. It also includes resources for hiring and retaining immigrants in your workplace. New content is being added daily, so keep checking back, but the website is wehireimmigrants.ca, and we're so excited to be launching it today right here at Connect to Careers.
And Usman, when we talk about the immigrant experience, does Hamilton set itself apart in terms of the breadth of services provided? Because I know that 1 in 4 people living in Hamilton are from another nation. So how do we stack up? Is Hamilton one of the places that we try to promote to the federal government to say we have the capacity to take on new Canadians here?
Do we have the capacity? Absolutely. But really, it really is up to our employer partners right now to show not just the benefits to culture, but that out of the box thinking. When you have employers and when you have newcomers in your workforce, what are some of the opportunities that your organization has had as a direct result of having them? And one of the things that we hire newimmigrants.ca is all about is what we're looking for is having all of you Hamilton-based employers to speak to those opportunities and speak to those benefits of hiring a diverse team and really embracing the experiences and perspectives of newcomers to Hamilton. Now, we know that Hamilton, as Judy and Jennifer both have talked about, is that there is so many different sectors, and in terms of the size of your company, large or small, everyone has an experience on hiring newcomers and what that has brought benefits to the organization. So we're looking for employers that can showcase that, for us to be able to showcase that to all of Hamilton and the GTHA and across the country about what it is that newcomers have done for your organization. I mean, you could talk about a particular newcomer or a team that you've worked with that's made a difference in your organization. You could mention any good onboarding or everyday workforce practices that you or your team has had to make newcomers feel included and accepted. All of this is available on the website. But I will say that, in terms of Hamilton being a city that has a capacity, back to your question, Michael, absolutely we do. We just really need to be able to show evidence of how we've done it in the past so that we can pave the way for the future.
Right. And I believe Tammy has shared that link in the chat box there. So I encourage everyone on the call today to check out that link and get involved. And so, Kristen, we move from the immigrant experience. A lot of the immigrant experience deals with your team and a lot of immigrant entrepreneurs in Hamilton. We have a strong entrepreneurial community here. So what's the Hamilton Business Center? And, you did a little bit of an explanation, but what are the programs that might interest some of the employers who are watching this today, and maybe some of the highlights of upcoming workshops and programs that they want to note?
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. And yes, the entrepreneurship community here in Hamilton is very strong and very representational of the conversations that we're having across all sectors today. We work very closely with HIPSI and our partners in economic development, our partners with the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And entrepreneurship continues to be a vital career path, a vital, sustainable, a very important part of our community in terms of establishing that small business presence. And in terms of the center, I did touch a little bit on it at the very beginning, but being one of 57 offices across Ontario, and sometimes people say small business or the Hamilton Business Center is for small and startup businesses, but we often work with existing employers and existing businesses across all sectors in the community. And there's a number of resources available to help those employers, those business owners, those small businesses, and those startups as they're really coming to Hamilton, growing and trying to connect the dots. One of the biggest things that we're providing right now and have been for a number of years is a facilitation opportunity where employers and businesses can connect with us. Sometimes we have a business that is working with an area or coming to Hamilton and they're experiencing some challenges. Often our team will come in and bring together some critical resources from a city standpoint, whether it be our regulatory partners internally, whether it be external funding partners, whether it be other program partners. And very often we're having one conversation with an employer or business owner to help triage some of those needs. So whether it's small or existing or expanding, that is a pivotal part of the programming that our team offers. In addition to that, we've really transitioned a number of programming over the past couple of years. And as we're seeing today, and here we are virtually, and hopefully we're back in person one day very soon, but we have an opportunity where business owners can start to pivot, and we all have done so in the past 2 years, to really expand our online presence. One of the programs that we partnered with long before the pandemic arrived is a program called Digital Main Street. So for employers on this call, this is a program that in pre-pandemic days, during the pandemic, and coming into a revitalization and resiliency conversation has really helped transform businesses. It is honestly a great opportunity to expand, have an online presence, and have a grant of $2,500 to offset your cost to do so. So there is that opportunity. We've added in key services in terms of programs, in terms of access to professionals. So businesses can connect with a lawyer, an accountant, a marketing professional to have some free guidance, free advice, which is wonderful, especially for our startup clients. We've also recently added a digital hub. So many of our business owners and small businesses, as they're starting and coming to Hamilton, are looking for that digital adaptation. And we've actually added a digital hub with over 150 resources and services for the Hamilton Business Center team. In addition to that, we've leveraged provincial programs and federal programs, bringing new experiences here to Hamilton to support employers, existing and new, to Hamilton through our My Main Street partnership. The My Main Street partnership is a very new initiative that will roll out through our section, through commercial districts and small business. And we've actually onboarded 6 new staff that very soon will be out into 6 areas across our community, talking to business owners, talking to employers, talking to the community to understand what the needs are, what the challenges are, and how we can help us kind of grow and reestablish those areas. In addition, in those areas, there are $10,000 grants available to support existing businesses, existing employers, and new small businesses to grow in those Main Street areas. So if you haven't had a chance to hear or learn more about the My Main Street initiative, please visit our website, and we would be happy to speak to anybody about that initiative and how that can help you as an employer in terms of Hamilton. Beyond that, we also have a program helping new businesses as they start, and we're seeing a surge in those calls. We're seeing resiliency in the city across the sectors, and starter company is really for businesses that are 1 year or less. So whether you're a large employer or a medium-sized employer or a small employer, this program may have some opportunities, again, if you are in that small business perspective. It's a training and mentorship program and a grant of $5,000 to help with some of those startups. So those are some of the key things that we're doing, in addition to the many answers to calls for assistance and consultation and outreach. And daily there's workshops and seminars connecting business owners and employers, and really trying to play that educational role as well in advocating for entrepreneurship across the communities.
And you're quite open to partnerships. I think the crux of what you do is a lot of partnerships with our community, not only through our business improvement areas, but our chambers of commerce, in the innovation factory, McMaster Innovation Park. So anyone listening in today and watching the presentation, they don't have to feel that if they're a chamber member, they can't come to take part in some of these services, and certainly vice versa. So how often are you working with some of our community partners like that, Kristen, through your?
Honestly, daily. I'm so thankful that Hamilton is the community it is. And I think as we see smiles on the panelists, we couldn't do what we do without this community and without the engagement of the employers and the people here today on this call. So we look to the community, we engage the community, and we partner with the community ongoing to sustain the programs, to offer the programs, to connect with the community. It's vital to the community success. And that is pivotal. So absolutely, if there's an opportunity that we can support you, or you can support something that we're doing, we would absolutely welcome any engagement opportunities. And I think I speak for all panelists with that outreach for sure.
That's great. Thank you, Kristen. I want to thank all of the panelists today for your time and sharing your expertise with the audience today. And we're going to, you're not done yet. We're going to throw it over to our colleague, Tammy Wang from our Economic Development Office, who's been monitoring the questions coming in from participants today. So Tammy, if you don't mind, if you have a couple of questions, and you can just direct them however you want.
Yes, thanks, Mike. So we got a question from the chat. Bruce wonders, if housing availability, not affordability, has been an issue for employers growing their workforce. I think they'll open that to all of our panelists to see if they have any insight into that.
Maybe I can start. Thanks for that great question, Bruce. I think for many, many municipalities and areas is that housing affordability has really become a key issue. If you think about during the pandemic, I think it just really came to a head where you heard about so many people leaving. Part of it is for space, part of it is affordability. And we saw that influx of new residents, as I mentioned earlier. The fortunate thing about the city of Hamilton is that when people were looking for a new place to live, everyone wants a different thing. Some people want a house, and luckily we have a whole variety of housing, whether it's heritage type buildings, new housing. There's more new housing being built in certain areas of the city, but the downtown is one area that I focus on with the incentives. And I think increasing the density in areas of Hamilton is really important. If you think about what I saw even 10 years ago, there was almost no projects for new residential downtown. I think I saw one stat that had 10 units in the whole year built. And now, if I count about the units that we're working with developers, just in our downtown alone, there's probably about 3,200 units being completed. Some are finished and some are just going through the final site plan. And then what's even more exciting, so all these new residents are moving into, and it's not just condos. I'm quite pleased to hear that a lot of them build apartments. And for a lot of people, apartments is the way to go if they don't have a down payment, as an example. And then we have even more projects in addition to, the LRT that's going to start, the downtown entertainment precinct that's starting, our waterfront that is going to be under construction starting very soon, is that we have probably 12,000 new residential units that are in discussion with the city in the early stages, and some going through early stages of site plan. So I would say in a few years, you're not going to recognize the downtown, but the advantage is that it's, as you say, it's not all about affordable housing. That is a focus of our housing group. We have an interest in economic development because I want to make sure that there's enough units to house all the talent that we want to keep in the city. So as one of the incentives that I mentioned to Mike earlier was the tax grant, is we added an extra incentive that if you're building affordable housing, then we will give you an even larger tax grant. And that's an example of how we can encourage developers to just think about how they can help with the issue of creating more housing, but also creating more affordable housing.
Thanks, Judy. Tammy, do we have a next question?
Yeah. For Jen, what are some of the key industry sectors that are hiring a lot today here in Hamilton?
Thanks, Tammy. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the work we do from a strategy perspective. So we've gone through some in 2021, early 2021, we did a ICT digital media strategy. We just completed a life sciences strategy. We're taking on a workforce strategy this year. But when we go through these exercises, and we also, when we go out and meet with industry, we learn about where the gaps are. What are the future jobs? Where are the gaps that where companies are challenged with in terms of hiring? And so we've learned, and again, most recently, the life sciences strategy, we've heard from those stakeholders in industry that play within this space, in this sector of our economy. We're seeing that there are some gaps there, and some the work that we need to be doing in terms of attracting further labor to this area. So I definitely, from a life sciences perspective, some of those professional services there, we've seen gaps in. And again, given the challenges we've had with COVID and sorts, we all know there's a gap there, and there's room for growth right across Canada, not necessarily just specifically Hamilton, but there are some areas there we recognize, and we expect that when the manufacturing strategy that we're undertaking currently, we expect that there'll be some areas there, and we know that because we've also met with some companies within the last month, and I know some of the companies that are participating in the career fair today. There are gaps, and there are skill sets that are needed from a manufacturing perspective, whether it's engineers and even some general labor. There's some challenges with and shortages. So again, we're very fortunate in terms of our location, in terms of our attraction for labor. We can go beyond just Hamilton. We see that, and we know, we recognize, and when we talk to companies, we ask them where their labor force is coming from, so that helps us understand the catchment area for labor coming into the city. So we know that there's ways and in which to target. to attract further labor coming in this way and into Hamilton. So I think there's different things we can do. Our strategies help us prepare and target and be more strategic about how we go after further labor in terms of attraction. Again, supporting companies that we see that the gaps, new immigrants coming into our community and the skill sets. And I know Uzma's gone through that quite significantly in terms of her presentation. I think there's opportunities there because we have a lot of those professional services that are here that we're not generally leveraging, and we could be leveraging more from. So I think I'm going to say it's across the board, Tammy. But our strategies, like I said, have given us some further insight of where we can target and focus moving forward in the future. And again, very importantly, working with our post-secondary educational partners, as well as in one group that we didn't mention here today was the Industry Education Council, because that's starting and developing children at a younger age and preparing them for the future. And what does the future of workforce look like? And so that's another way and another resource that companies can kind of take advantage of in getting profile with that organization, because I think it helps them understand and prepare for the future. And so companies can speak to these types of groups as well. And where are the gaps and what does the future of our workforce look like and the makeup of our workforce, because it changes all the time. And that's why I think that when we go through these strategies and we work with our educational institutions and partners, understanding where's the future going, where's the future of manufacturing going. It's more tech focused. It's rather than maybe that older kind of skill set that they may not require anymore. But we also have those needs for those skill sets as well, the traditional skills. So it's again working and being strategic about what is it going to look for, what's it going to look like our future workforce in moving forward, and how do we kind of tackle that together as a community. So hopefully that helps you.
Great, Jen, thank you very much. And I think we have one more for the panel. So Tammy.
Yep, one more open question for all of the panelists. Are there any major events coming up that people can attend either virtually or in person to network within the Hamilton community?
So Tammy, maybe I'll start off with that one. That is one thing that we've kind of developed and we continue to develop, is that need for continuing to offer opportunities to connect our business community. So whether it's business to business or business to consumer, that's a very pivotal part of what you'll see here in Hamilton. So for the employers and those prospective job seekers on the call, I can share that next week on Tuesday, March the 8th, there is an event that the City of Hamilton is hosting called Resiliency in the City. And this is a one-day international celebration to International Women's Day with a keynote speaker, a number of panelists, but virtual networking, which is awesome. So there's a way that you can connect with other employers, other business owners, and some other businesses right across Hamilton. And we continue to offer this. Is probably our 12th year now and running, but every year we see some great business to business opportunities. And I think that's one of the strengths of Hamilton, is that support and that cohesiveness and that collaboration. And this is great timing. It's definitely on our radar right now. And then every day there's workshops and seminars and ways that we can connect, because I think that's the biggest thing we can do right now is keep those connections going. And that's just one that I can share today.
And I wouldn't mind adding a couple there myself in terms of working with our partners. I know we have the Canada's Innovation Corridor Summit later on in the spring, and a lot of companies do participate in there. And then again, it's an opportunity to share not only Hamilton, but the greater region. We also have, and again, I talked a little bit about our strategy. We have a workforce strategy will be brought forward this year, as well as a manufacturing strategy, which is forthcoming imminently. And when we have stakeholder engagement, I encourage companies to participate in those, because I think it's a great opportunity to learn again what some of your challenges may be, and how do we as an economic development agency support you moving forward and working with our partners in the community. So what do we need to do to make Hamilton a more even greater, I guess, a community that attracts further labor, as well as supporting, and again, future of what the labor force may look like. So again, I encourage that as well. And we do have different events. And again, I encourage you to look at our investinhamilton.ca website. because we do have some events on there as well. I know we have a life sciences event on March 9th that speaks to why Hamilton and from the life sciences sector, what's happening in the community. And it's an investment opportunity, but it's also an opportunity to see what's happening from a life sciences perspective and what's going on. And I know our Michael Marini is our marketing coordinator, and he works very closely with his counterpart, Adam Durant, who's our business analyst, and they are the research and marketing team. And they do a great job of promoting. And again, I encourage you to, those on the line, to follow some of the activity we're doing on some of our social feeds. And Michael, I don't want to take away your thing there, but I think it is an opportunity to share some of the activities taking place within our own group, our whole group, whether it's my divisions, Judy's division, and then HIPSI as well. I know at Newsma, maybe I'll throw it over to you as well, because I'm sure there's a lot that you're doing. Well, I know you're doing that you can share as well.
Thanks very much, Jennifer. Yes, we have a Newcomer Day that's coming up. So for all of those individuals that are either job seekers or even employers, Newcomer Day is coming up in the end of May. We will post that on the WeHireImmigrants.ca website as well. You'll see it across the city of Hamilton. It's a really great way for you to meet other people that are new to the country, or for employers to meet other employers that are hiring immigrants. But also, that social connection is so important, right? That whole aspect of networking is so important. Many jobs come through that hidden job market. So there has to be those opportunities to be involved in that. One other thing that the Immigrants Working Center does provide too, for employers that are looking to hire immigrants, we will do employer spotlights. So just that single employer will come on and be open to meet with the newcomers that are coming into the country to talk about the company, the history of their company, the different job opportunities that are available, the potential for growth within a company. And it's really a great way to get to know, from a job seeker standpoint, it's a great way to get to know a company and what the workplace culture would be like. And from an employer standpoint, it really is a great way to get to know some of this new talent that's coming in without having to go through that whole recruitment process and having to look through resumes and filter it that way. One of the great things about organizations that are involved with HIPSI is that they're all funded by either the federal government or the provincial government, or support from the municipality as well. So there's either zero cost or very minimal cost to the employer. And there's no better way to recruit than through funded agencies whose goal is to match qualified, well-fitting candidates with what the labor market is looking for, and not just about gaining numbers and placing people wherever job opportunities are available. That's a really important aspect of funded organizations, is to make sure that the fit is right, both for the employer and for the job seeker as well. So there are many different opportunities to network virtually. Hopefully we'll have more in person. Where fingers are crossed that we're heading into that time now. But yeah, I'm sure everybody here, everybody in the room is really ready for that in person as well.
That's great. Thank you so much, Uzma. Tammy has provided all those links on the side there in the chat. And that's our time. I want to really thank our panelists today for their time and their expertise. Tammy Wang for all the administrative work on the side there, and our partners at McMaster University and the Student Success Center for helping us set all this up. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in and all the great questions. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you back at the Connected Careers Job Fair. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.